family forced me to be my brother's donor since I was 7. Last week, his fiancé asked one question and everything exploded. When I was 7, my brother poured gasoline on his hair because his friends dared him to light it. He was 12 and should have known better, but he did it anyway. The flames burned his face, his neck, his ears, everything. I remember sitting in the hospital hallway when my mom crouched down and grabbed my hands. She said my brother needed skin and I was the only match. She said it would only happen once. She said I'd be saving his life and he'd never forget it. I didn't really understand what she was asking. I just knew my brother was screaming down the hall and my mom was crying and everyone kept saying I could fix it. So I said, okay. They put me on a stretcher that same night. They told me it would only happen once, but when I was 9, my mom sat me down again. She said the skin on my brother's neck wasn't stretching right as he grew. The doctors needed a little more, just a small patch. I didn't want to, but she said he was getting bullied at school. She said kids were calling him names and he cried every night, so I did it again. At 11 it was his jawline. I told my mom I didn't want to do it anymore. She grabbed my shoulders and said, you don't have a choice. He's your brother. I started to argue, but she cut me off. This isn't a question. The appointment is already scheduled. I was 11. I didn't know how to fight that. At 13 it was his shoulder where the old graft scarred badly. Every few years there was a new reason. The skin didn't heal right. He grew too fast. The texture didn't match, and every single time my parents found a way to make me feel like the selfish one if I even hesitated. I remember being 14 and asking my dad why it was always me. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, you're his sister. He didn't ask for this to happen to him. I wanted to scream that I didn't ask for it either, but I just nodded and scheduled the surgery. By high school, I had scars running down my thighs, my back, my stomach. I stopped wearing shorts. I quit the swim team because I couldn't stand the looks in the locker room. My brother walked around in tank tops, like nothing ever happened to him, because technically nothing did. It all happened to me. The worst part is he never once thanked me. Not once. It became expected. Like I owed him my body because he made a stupid decision when he was 12. I moved out at 18 and thought it was finally over. For 5 years, nobody asked me for anything. I let myself believe I was free. Then last month, my mom called. She said Anderson was engaged. They said it was just a casual family thing, nothing serious. When I got there, Anderson was sitting at the table with a woman I'd only met twice before. Her name was Chelsea, his fiancée. She smiled at me when I walked in. She seemed warm. We made small talk while my mom brought out the food. Everything felt almost normal. Then halfway through dinner, my mom looked at me and said, so, have you scheduled the appointment yet? I froze. Chelsea looked up from her plate and asked, what appointment? My mom laughed like it was nothing, just a little appointment for Anderson. Wedding prep stuff. Chelsea looked at me. Appointment for what? I couldn't answer. My throat closed up. She asked again, quieter this time. I whispered it. A skin graft. She blinked. A what? I pulled my sleeve up before I could stop myself. The scars ran up my forearm like a map. Chelsea stared. She looked at Anderson. Is that from you? He shifted in his chair. It's not a big deal, Jen. My sister gives me her skin. So what? Her voice went cold. Not a big deal. She pointed at my arm. How many times has she done this? I told her I stopped counting after 10. She put both hands flat on the table. She looked at my mom. You let doctors cut your daughter open over and over again, so your son could look normal. My mom started talking about how Anderson had been through so much. Chelsea shook her head. This isn't sacrifice. This is literal abuse. She grabbed her jacket and looked at Anderson. I'm not marrying into your sick-ass family. She looked at me. BTW. I know herbal medicine to help with the scarring.